on the top. And good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dracorexia. Welcome back to another episode of the Indian Esports Show. But this is different. Today, we are not having a podcast per se, but we are also having exclusive interviews. Yay! Sorry. I had to be a bit banteristic about this because right here beside me, I think so it's inverted this time. Right here beside me is Wasif Ahmed, who is one of my really good friends and one of my first friends in this industry of esports. So, by the funny part is we both didn't know we were working with each other, but we were working with each other. So that is where it began. And the funny part is it was 24th of September. So it's a year which has passed. So congratulations on that. And yeah, that was
Yes,
like that.
yes.
That was like that. How are you doing, Wasif?
First of all, thank you so much. Should I call you Brian or Dracorexia?
Call me Brian. At this point, it's fine, yeah. It's fine.
No, no,
People know
it's
my
better
name.
than Dracorexia.
Yeah.
I've seen your podcast. You're like, I'm Dracorexia.
Acha, fine. Then
So
say
I'm
Draco
calling
Rex.
Dracorexia.
It's nice. We have anyway put my legal name out, so it's fine. I mean, at this point, you know, when I know, I mean, that's what happens. You know, when you're talking online on Twitter, you have to be like, "Hi, my name is Dracorexia," and when you are in person at an event, you cannot say, "I am Dracorexia." You have to be like, "Hi, my name is Brian Francis." So it's like at this point, people have realized, okay, there's somebody there as Brian
How do
Francis.
you work in gaming? You can say Dracorexia. No one will mind.
Yeah, half of the people cannot pronounce my name. That's another thing. But that is far away from the point. Today's discussion is not about me, it is about you. So, if you all don't know about Wasif, there's a long story which is there, but we're going to uncover everything today. Mind you, I must say, this is somebody who was nominated as an esports journalist of the year. So, we have got somebody very, very educated and very responsible with everything that they do. These wings might be for something else. It is what it is. But yeah, getting into the beginning for you. You started as a book reviewer, and as a friend of yours, I didn't know this. So what was this? Where did it start?
So as a kid, I was a huge nerd, right? So I used
Okay.
to read a lot of books.
Hmm.
And I think it was around, ninth, 10th grade,
Okay.
where I was like, कि मुझे थोड़ा सा पैसे कमाने हैं."
Huh.
So I went to the depths of the internet, कि कैसे, how can I make money?
Okay.
And one thing that popped up was book reviews.
Okay.
So you can write book reviews and you can get paid. It was very minuscule amount. I think it was $25 per book review, the
Okay.
highest I ever got paid.
Okay.
And for that $25, I had to read like a very thick book,
Okay.
200 pages,
You
and
just said
write a
200 pages.
complete. Yeah, it was like a proper book review. I used to get like
200 pages
proper
is
books from
nothing.
authors, and I used to 200 pages is a lot. Okay, for $25.
You're fine.
You,
Yeah,
you
fine.
imagine that's like 8 hours of work for like what, $25 at that time, 2,000, 3,000 rupees, not more than that.
3,000. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway, that's more than what people get. So be happy. I mean, yeah,
Yes,
$25.
yeah. So back in like ninth, 10th grade, it was a big
Yeah.
amount. You're
Yeah.
making 5K per month, jacket
Yeah.
chips or cold drink to आए जाते थे.
Yeah.
So that's how I used to do book reviews. And I also used to get this Amazon gift cards.
Okay.
But the problem was the gift cards were for Amazon.com, not
Yeah.
Amazon.in.
Hmm.
So what I used to do is there was this Bitcoin company, I forgot its name,
Okay.
and through that you could buy stuff for other people in US,
Okay.
and they used to pay you in Bitcoin, in
Okay.
cryptocurrency. So I
Okay.
used to use my Amazon gift cards and buy stuff for them in the US, and they used to give me cryptocurrency, which I used to convert or buy stuff from me on
Wow.
Amazon.in. So it
Oh,
was a
wow.
whole elaborate process.
My God. I'm still wondering at the like in your 10th, you're already doing all of this while here people are wondering, Bhai sahab, boards mein kaise clear karu? Like this is
I
what I'm
actually have a funny story. I actually have
go,
a funny story
go
about
for it.
that. So in 10th grade, in ninth or 10th grade, I bought my first mobile phone.
Okay.
It was for 10K,
Huh.
and I bought stuff for all of my, my brothers and my
Yeah.
father and mother. It amounted to about 18K
Okay.
in total. The mobile was like for 9,000, I think.
Okay.
And this was that year in which the cryptocurrency value just shot up.
Okay.
And I bought, I think, everything in March and April. I had
Okay.
cryptocurrency in my account.
Okay.
And in that year itself, it shot up.
Okay.
So if I had just waited 3 months,
Hmm.
that 18,000 would have been 1,08,000, I think.
It is what it is. It is what
It's
it is.
fate. It's fate.
It's faith. It's fine. At least you realize the value. I think so. That was the beginning of us realizing the value, and for you, value per se of money and how it feels to like give family. And that's one thing which I like. Yeah, whatever we buy, we always give first to our family, then we buy for ourselves.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, so from a big book reviewer, how did you go to being in the gaming industry, or like where did this gaming passion of yours begin?
So As a kid, I used to watch Disney shows. I won't say which ones because they
Okay.
are a bit, I don't know, cringy and too
Doesn't matter.
girlish as well. But one show which I really liked was called Gamer's Guide to Pretty Much Everything.
Okay.
So in that show, it had four people. I remember two of them, no, three of them.
Okay.
Cameron Boyce, he actually passed away.
Okay.
Uh, I forgot the other three actors' name, but basically what the show was about, it's these group of four people, three guys and one girl. They form an esports team and they compete in esports tournaments.
Oh, wow.
That was the whole show. It used to come on Disney XD, but I used to pirate it. Sorry, I didn't used to pirate it. I used to watch it legally. Yeah, so that is how I got introduced to the world of esports, and I started looking for esports games to play because as a kid you're attracted to this idea of being an esports athlete. But yeah, I could never become an esports athlete.
I think so. It's just like for us, we just realized, yeah, we don't have the time or we don't have the skills to like
I
do
think it was
this.
more of the skill issue.
Skill.
Time is a plenty.
Um, yeah, I can understand skill issues are it's there. It's like literally you have to be the 0.1% in to become one of the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
players. So I mean realizing that there. So how do you get introduced like sports Kira? Because you were there for a short amount of time, but in that short amount of time, you even took interviews of people who are now very much well known. One of them is Venom. So how did that happen?
Well, Venom was renowned at that time as well. But just to how I got started with Sportskeeda is I used to play PUBG Mobile with my friends
Okay.
back then. And of course, read about updates on my mobile.
Yeah.
This is happening, this is what's coming to the game.
Yeah.
And one, I think, article popped up on my Google feed.
Okay.
It was on Sportskeeda. I opened the website and I was just reading the article. And notice at the top right, there's a write for us option.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, what's this? Let's just check it out. And I clicked on that. And that's basically how I started writing for Sportskeeda. At that
Okay.
time, anyone could publish an article
Okay.
and you got paid based on the amount of views the article got.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and
that
Venom, I think I just dropped him an email
okay.
and he responded, I think, within almost immediately. And I sent
Oh,
him a list of questions and he responded with the questions. So yeah,
wow.
that's how I got the Venom interview then.
Oh, that's amazing. The funny part is I recently met him and he's tall, man. He's like you and I are tall for like an Indian standard, but then you look at Venom, you're like, huh?
Oh yeah, he's tall, tall.
He's very tall. And I mean, I met him at your company, which you're working for, Sky Sports, and we will get to that. People, this is a man with a lot of accolades and roles which have been there, which we have to get through. But at your time of Sports Kira, when you first started, you worked there as an intern. How was that for you? Like, what was something that you learned as like your introduction to esports journalism, and what did you take away from it?
So no, at that time it wasn't an internship. It was just a freelance writing opportunity,
Okay,
which they didn't actually give it to you. Anyone could go there and submit articles.
okay,
And there they used to go through an editorial process and plagiarism check.
hmm,
And if it's fine, it used to go on the website. So it was
okay,
a very simple process. And I think I was in my 11th grade at that time.
okay,
So I used to write a bit on the side, when I'm back from school, stuff like that.
okay.
So that is how sports career used to work.
Oh my God. I mean, you did work there for a short amount of time. So what's the one thing that you said like you could take away from this? Was it just like how to write articles? Would that be like considerably a skill that you learned from there?
Yeah, I think the starting point, you try to figure out what is the best way to write an article.
Okay.
And so sports kid, I think, taught me that,
Hmm.
the overall tone of the article, stuff like that, which I got to, refine from the fantastic editors at Dot Esports.
And I think so I was just getting to that because here is where I think so a major chunk of your esports journalism life comes. You were in Dot Esports and on LinkedIn it says 3 years. So I think so that is like 3 years or there's a long amount of time. So how did that come up to be? Because I think so that would be like for many people like okay, that's the beginning part of it. But for you it was like your journey, like it was like a very early start. So how did that happen for you?
Yeah, so I think I was 17 years old when I applied to Dot Esports. I
Okay.
was browsing through Hitmarker actually,
Hmm.
just looking like what is the the scene in the esports industry.
Yep.
And I stumbled upon this opportunity as a freelance writer at Dot Esports. And funnily enough, they were actually not looking for mobile games writer,
Okay.
for a mobile games writer, which is what I used to do there.
Yeah.
It was, I think, for was not Warzone, some PC games. I forgot their
Hmm.
names, and that was what the job opportunity was about.
Hmm.
But nonetheless, I was like, "What's the the hurt? I can
Yeah.
apply." And I dropped in a email
Yeah.
to the editor at that time, the editor in chief. Explain to them ki, dot esports is an up and coming website. It's already very established. One area that you lack right now is mobile games coverage, and I think I can bring that to you.
Hmm.
And fortunately enough, they responded and got me on board. Ki,
Hmm.
yeah, that is something we want to do. Look into mobile games coverage, and this is at 2019
Okay.
when you had PUBG Mobile just releasing. So
Yeah.
the initial boom of the mobile gaming industry was happening. Mobile
Okay.
esports was still considered a joke at that time,
Yeah.
to be honest. So yeah, that was the initial, I think, growth of mobile games, and that is when I joined the Dot Esports.
Okay. So Dot Esports, so from there you began as a full-time writer, or like you were just freelancing at the start?
It was just a freelance position.
Okay. So, and for the rest of the 3 years, was it continued freelance, or you started like you made a transition into full-time or not?
No, it was completely freelance. I actually got an opportunity to do full time,
Okay.
but it was either to choose that or pursue a career in public relations. So I chose public relations for Sky Sports.
Okay, and you bring about PUBG Mobile and you bring about 2019. And a very interesting thing which happened after that was towards the middle of COVID, we saw the game getting banned. And PUBG Mobile, mind I ideal, it might not have the hype it has right now, but it was a humongous thing because everybody played, every age group of people were there. I knew my friends who were fathers who were playing, or like who became fathers, they're like 25, 26, and they are playing with their squad at the night, but the game got banned. So we have seen about how it affects like an esports athlete. Like they are the stop. Like their journey just ends. But for a writer, how did it affect you? Or how do these bans affect you?
Personally, it didn't affect me much
Okay.
because at that time I was, more into dot esports,
Okay.
and you're a writer as well, so you know that the Google AdSense revenue
Yeah.
from India is very less when compared to the West.
Yep.
So India as a market is not something that international websites focus on much.
Yeah.
Besides just getting those, those clicks on their spreadsheet.
Okay.
So yeah, it didn't affect me much. I used to cover all mobile games. So PUBG Mobile was still there in other regions, which
Okay.
was my major area of coverage.
Do you remember an incident which it kind of affected like a writer in India per se, or like one of your friends who was there who was like, okay, now what do I do? Or like the stumble
At
blocks.
that time, at that time, I wasn't really connected to many people,
Okay.
but yeah, I think I had a few conversations with people then. But even for them, the
Hmm.
initial the PUBG Mobile period was, I would say, a different period for writers because you had these stories which could do very well.
Hmm.
Like, so every day someone used to come on stream and say, PUBG Mobile is coming in 3 weeks. And
Yeah.
there was an article for you. So many people, this is what Sports Kid actually used to do back then. I wasn't a part of it, but that's what their articles were.
Lamau. I mean, yeah, I remember that. Oh, PUBG Mobile was said to be coming here. Then you remember the Indian minister, some meeting is happening with Crafton or something or the other. That entire 1 year, I don't know what was happening, but we were just speculating. I remember I started writing at that, like after it got banned. I remember I was writing and I was just like, okay, this game, you cannot write much about it, but what you can write is at least like what it affected you in India. And I mean, that's where I think so. You and I had our paths intervening at last, and that is esports.net. Now, the interesting part is now you're working there and your face is there. But before that, your face was not there, but you were there. I don't know what happened over there, but I remember we met at the Red Bull event because we both were writers for the same thing, and I asked you about it. But I mean, even back then, I think so. One thing which esports.net even made me realize as a journalist was you have to opinionate yourself. Like, you cannot just have articles which are seen right now in India, which are like tier list stuff. And you cannot just have like an article about somebody's one quote. That is not effective journalism. That is content writing. There's a difference. So, for you, what is the difference between a content writer and a journalist, in your opinion?
Yeah, exactly what he said. Content writers are just people who pick up don't even pick up a story, they just are assigned work per se and
Hmm.
cover it. And I think in gaming and esports, the line between content writing and journalism, it's a
Hmm.
very thin line.
Hmm.
Some people who have I think higher ethics and know what they do, they just call themselves content writers, and the
Hmm.
other ones, people like me, I would say we just call ourselves journalists.
I
So I
mean,
think there's a very thin line in what that was.
I mean, I remember in the beginning, even I would consider myself as a content writer because we were just writing articles on like what a game like Genshin Impact, being like, okay, this is a news update which is coming. Like for people, if you
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
understand, like like majority of my articles in the beginning in esports was also like Genshin Impact update coming out, what to expect. Now that is a little bit of research, but now if you see the article which I might do or what Wasif might be doing, it might be a bit more different because we are taking interviews and dissecting the interviews and trying to give it a storyline or a narrative thing to it. That is what you call journalism. Because it doesn't mean that we are here doing, we're not saying we are the best. I mean, he was nominated for Esports of the Year journal. Like he was a nominated, and I'm going to get to that now. You were nominated. How did that come to be?
Yeah, actually, I didn't expect that at all, to be honest.
Okay.
I think at that time, I was the only person covering mobile games to that extent,
Okay.
which is the reason for my nomination. I don't think I did any big breaking stories like
Okay.
some of the other journalists who were nominated in that year.
Okay.
But I think what these sports awards wanted to give is recognition
Okay.
for someone, trying to cover and extensively record the mobile
Hmm.
games industry at its nascent stage.
That's nice. I
And to be
mean,
honest, how I found out about the award was Esports Awards followed me on Twitter
okay.
before they actually announced the nominations,
Okay.
and then I actually got a press release from them
Okay.
for covering them, and my name was in the press release.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
That's
that's how I
it.
found out.
I mean, that's interesting, man. I'm so, I mean, even as a friend, I'm just like, damn, I've got somebody who's nominated for like the creme de la creme award. Oh my God. But I mean, we talk about this, we talk about nomination and the exposure. But did you ever have a situation where the exposure backfired or you were just like, okay, this is getting a bit too much and I need to suddenly like shrink down a bit or like just go a bit into like, I might enjoy all the publicity that I'm getting, but it's getting a bit too much because we aren't that socially out there as compared to like a content creator or a gamer. So did that ever happen to you?
I don't think I ever got myself that out there, even if you look at my social media presence. I think
Okay.
I have a very large digital footprint, but that still tries to cover off my personal life
Hmm.
to my public life.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't think I ever got myself out there. I think one instance which I remember is I am very politically active on Twitter in
Yeah.
terms of what I write, what I like,
Yeah.
and likes are public on Twitter.
Yeah.
And some, I don't know, am I allowed to say asshole?
I mean, fine, go for it. You can use a
Yeah,
very public. We'll say a person who was not nice to you, or like a not
yeah.
not an
No, no, he
ethically
wasn't
right
nice.
person.
I don't know. It was a random guy.
Okay,
He showed my, he saw my likes, which were
okay.
apparently anti-India or anti-government, and took a screenshot of it and posted on his Twitter and tagged Shiva, Sky Sports, or upper management. Ki, what type of anti-India people do you have in your company?
Oh
When they were
my
very,
God.
just political opinions, to be
N-
honest. So yeah, that
Some
is one instance which I remember.
so you just realize after that there's no point because if there's I remember that is even a thing on Instagram. Like your likes were public, then they removed that completely, and I think the Twitter has still kept it. So sometimes you have to be wary of what you like and what you don't like because even for me, I think on Twitter there have been situations where suddenly some post comes up, like I don't follow this. What is this? And I see like, oh, this follower of mine. I'm like you do realize that
Yeah,
this is
even if a follower of yours likes something else, it shows
yeah.
that to you.
I mean,
So it's a messed up algorithm.
it's a
I think
messed up
they're
argument.
still testing it out.
Yeah, I think so. They're trying to now make it just a premium feature. I hope they do that. Please just do that. But now, interestingly, you bring up about social media because as a PR manager, you need to be at the top most. You need to make sure, like, as a PR manager for any organization, your main thing is your public relations with other people. How did you get into that from being a journalist to like switching into PR? And why do you make the switch?
I don't think it was a natural switch, which I
Okay.
planned out. I used to write for Dot Esports, and I also used to offer freelance writing services
Okay.
to people in the Indian gaming sphere. And one
Okay.
of them was Shiva from Sky Esports.
Okay.
At that time, it was still the initial stages
Mm.
of Sky Esports, and I used to write public, not public, press releases for them,
Yep.
which they used to send out on their own.
Okay.
And I think I did that for 3, 4 months. And after that, Shiva himself was like, why don't you come on board
Okay.
as a public relations manager?
Okay.
And at that time, I had done public relations for one company, which was called Good Game One.
Yeah.
That was also something that was not planned out. They just had an announcement coming up. which was about this Fnatic versus TSM Valorant match or something. I don't exactly remember.
Okay.
And I sent it out to a few journalist friends of mine, and it
Okay.
became public relations. So
Okay.
that's how I got into the industry. And I was like, okay, yeah, Shiva, I can do this for you.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's how I started public relations back in, I think, 2021.
2021, yeah, it showed me over the 2 years, 4 months, and I'm like, okay, fine. It's been like it's funny because
Yeah,
it's like
it's been a minute.
it's been a long time. Like, when you say 2 years, I'm just like, I have been here for 2 years. Like, my God, I'm going to reach 2 years in December. Like, it's like for me also, I'm like, oh my God, 2 years have happened in my life and I'm working in this industry. But I mean, you started working and you now from like mobile esports, I think so. You have to now even realize about how Indian esports work and how was that like how was that transition for you to like start learning about Indian esports and the different things you learned? So what were some skills or like what were some things you realized right away when you had to go for offline events? Because I think so this would be now when you started going for events, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, at that time, not because it was still the pandemic phase. I think the first event we had, which I attended, was the awards ceremony for Sky Sports Championship 3.0, which happened in Mumbai.
Hmm.
So that was kind of my first offline event. But I
Okay.
think, yeah, one thing that I initially, instantly recognized is, to develop communication skills. I
Okay.
think I graduated during the pandemic year, literally
Okay.
2020. And
Okay.
immediately after I think I gave my last exam
Hmm.
on March 14th, it was, and 19th is when the lockdown happened.
Yeah.
So I only had 5 years of the golden, I think the 12th ka jo summer wo vacation hota hai after 12th ka births.
Yeah.
It's the elite period of your life. I had 5 days of those. So yeah, I think just being at home,
Hmm.
confined to your mobile or your laptop, it did take a hit on your overall communication skills.
Hmm.
And yeah, working on that, I think, is something that I focused on. Not just from perspective of work, but also from a social perspective when you're going on dates or meeting friends.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's as crucial. I think so. That's the thing. I think so. As a public relation manager, you need to learn about people
PR
skills.
manager.
PR manager. You
Yes.
need to learn about, yeah,
Yeah.
you cannot make public relation. That would be another manager all in itself. But yeah, your people skills, soft skills, which would be crucial. So in your eyes, communication is one thing. What are some other things that somebody should be having to be like a PR manager for any, be it an Indian org, because we are focusing more on Indian esports. So like an Indian esports org, be it like BGMI or Valorant. So what do you feel like certain skills that they should have?
Yeah, I think communication is the most important, which is something I don't think I've perfected yet, and I'm working on.
Hmm.
But other than that, I think one skill which is necessary is empathy.
Okay.
And empathy not in the sense of recognizing people's emotions who are journalists or just people around you. It's
Hmm.
also about recognizing the company's vision, because
Okay.
often it's not explicitly stated to you, or the
Okay.
company itself doesn't you know know what it is
Hmm.
in terms of writing it out. So
Okay.
that is something you need to recognize and learn. And empathy, I think, is very important for that. And even when you're pitching to journalists, just
Hmm.
having general empathy on what they need,
Okay.
because it's not just about you need to understand from their perspective as well.
Okay.
What the pressure they are under. If you write a very wordy press release filled with unnecessary adjectives,
Yeah.
that is as journalists very annoying. But at the same time, you need to add them to satisfy the stakeholders and everyone. So it's about finding the right balance to satisfy everybody.
I mean, that was something. I think so. That was I think so a month ago. I saw this tweet about like somebody just putting it out there that what do you say? What do you say? Press releases have what do you say? Have these words are like we are the leading esports thing, and now people have to realize that you have to say that in a public domain. It needs to be there. There are certain keywords that have to be there to make sure it's like a good press release. Just putting it out there because many people I've seen that happen a lot of time where they're just like telling, why are you doing this? You have to do it. It's like the rules of society or something like that, which you have to do. But I mean, getting to we have gone about your past. We are talking about your present right now. And right now, if I'm correct, now you started writing for Esports Insider. And I believe that is going to be a shift for you as well, because while your first article was on mobile gaming itself, you for I think so for Esports Insider, it's more industry news which you have to cover. So you're taking like a bigger scope this time. Is that like a choice that you made voluntarily, or you're just like, okay, this is like my next stage of transition for as a writer?
No, actually, I think I applied to Esports Insider back in March,
Okay.
and they got back in April. and then I had an interview with them in May, and I think that's how it worked out. So it's been going for a long period of time. But it's what I'm covering there is not general news articles.
Hmm.
It's towards the industry focus because they're
Yeah.
more of a B2B website.
Yep.
What I have been told to cover is in-depth articles about mobile games or even just general esports,
Okay.
but they are oriented towards a consumer perspective. So
Understood.
people who are at
The
the gamers
stakeholders.
basically.
The
No,
gamers.
not the
Okay.
gamers,
The gamers. Okay.
the
Fine.
gamers. Yeah, so that article, which I think just went out,
Yeah.
it was about the overview of the PUBG Mobile esports ecosystem.
Yep.
So it's more catered towards audiences as opposed to stakeholders, but it's I think a fine balance between both.
Hmm. Is there any team in PUBG Mobile that you support, or BGMI in India that you support, or there's no alliance for you, or you're not allowed to say anything because it'll be like a situation of,
No, no,
ooh,
I'm allowed to say, but I think for BGMI I support Revenant Esports, of course. For PUBG Mobile, I don't think I've watched PUBG Mobile Esports in a minute, but I think S2G Esports this past year, they've
okay,
really impressed, and yeah, that was a team I was actually rooting for. So it was good to see them, winning the PMGC.
that's nice. I mean, that's nice to hear. But now, as we get towards the end of this interview, because we have discussed a lot about you, I want to know what, in your case, is like as a journalist, what is like, what do you say? What is something that you would want like people should have now? What needs to change in India as a journalist? Like you and I, we both are Indian, but we don't write for Indian websites. So because there are different editors, different styles of writing, and it's a different type of work environment. And we both have chosen that simply because of economics. Let's just be honest. It's the economics and the AdSense. But for
Yeah.
you, as somebody who has to talk to a lot of esports journalists who are Indian or gaming journalists or like the writers, what are certain things that you want to change, what that should change, or what would you suggest them to change about them?
No, I think the Indian esports, I think journalism side of things, it's heading towards the right direction, especially with I think websites like Dust2 India
Hmm.
and Gossip GG doing a fantastic job,
Hmm.
even though there might be some conflicts of interest there with the latter, but
Hmm.
still they're doing a fantastic job, and I think that is something which was lacking, not
Okay.
just from the business side of things, but
Hmm.
also for people who are reading and consuming content, because
Okay.
you don't just need to make articles to be a media website.
Yeah.
It's important to focus on creating videos, reels, and when you have access to events,
Yeah.
that is something which you should do.
I mean,
Even I think IGN India is investing a lot into video content,
I think so now
so
they've
it's great to
just
see that.
I think so now they've just started. I saw something on LinkedIn about them, which was like, I was like, go for it. We want more content from you all. And you bought about Dust, and I want to ask you this, which was brought up in the first episode as well. How crucial do you feel like a website like Dust is now in like putting their feet in the Indian market? How important is that for like a journal, like in a journalistic perspective? Like, do you feel it's like a big turning stone? Because many people shied from India in the past, and like you said, the AdSense as well is not a it's not the most supportive. It's more like if you try, you got a lot of hurdles to deal with. So if you see an org like Dust coming in, is that a big thing?
Yeah, I think it speaks to the potential of the Indian esports market when a global entity like HLTV is recognizing the potential of India as
Okay.
a stronghold for Counter Strike in the future.
Hmm.
And actually, we had conversations with them before they actually started us to India
Yeah.
in terms of what are our plans for the Indian esports market, and I think they like those as well, which might have tipped the scales in their favor for opening a division in India. But yeah,
Hmm.
Dust to India, it's very important, I would say, for just recording the news around Counter Strike, because they don't just do regular news pieces. This team is beating this,
Yeah.
this team is beating that,
Yeah.
and but they also do interviews and longer feature articles around the Indian Counter Strike scene.
Yeah.
Actually, for the Sky Sports Masters, we had a press conference
Yeah.
after every match where we got a player from each team, the winning
Okay.
team and the losing team, to come on and just
Have a
have the
discussion.
media, yeah, just have discussion with the media.
Okay.
And while you invited a lot of media, only Dust to India was the ones who showed up for that. So yeah,
Yeah.
Dust
I
to India, what
I didn't even know that there was something like that. So I think so that's on you.
No, so
I was
we only invited certain media, but yeah, that is what happened.
fair dues. Fair dues, fair dues. I would not even say that. But yeah, coming towards the end and we talk about this, and it's actually a good thing. I think so. Dust 2 coming in is a good thing. And I would ask you this: what's the future for you, Wasif? What do you feel is the future for you, Indian esports, as well as what do you want things like with CS2 coming? It's a rumor to come tomorrow when we are recording this. What do you feel you see the change that's going to happen in India?
Yeah, I think Counter-Strike 2, it's a huge opportunity, and already we are seeing a few players switch back. And I think you made a tweet about that as well. You made a list or something of players who might
I
switch
have.
back.
I
So
I
yeah,
have I have a list, but I'm never going to put it out because I know for a matter of fact 90% of it's going to be true. I have valid reasons, but I'm just going to leave it to that.
just share the list with me. Now I just
Ah,
want to see.
okay, fine. I'll do that. I'll do that. It'll be public. It'll be private knowledge until it's made until all the other people have put it out. But yeah, getting back to
Yes,
your
yes.
answer.
Yeah, so I think Counter-Strike 2, it's going to be big for Indian esports, especially in PC esports. When we
Yeah.
have, I think what Sky Esports has done, what
Hmm.
we've successfully done, is laid the foundation stones for
Yeah.
building up a Counter-Strike esports ecosystem,
Hmm.
which is already being leveraged by other TOs. I think
Yeah.
TEC has also organized Counter-Strike events.
Yeah.
Upthrust also did it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something that is there for everyone to leverage,
Yeah.
and collectively we can build a very vibrant ecosystem for Counter-Strike 2.
I mean, I can't wait. And what is the future for you, Wasif? What do you want to do? Is there something you want to accomplish by the end of this year?
I don't actually keep revolutions, to be honest. So there's no
Oh,
such thing. I think the only revolution I had was last year when I was like,
resolution,
I want
resolution, not revolution,
yeah,
resolution.
yearly
Yes, no, I'm not talking about
resolution. Yeah,
yeah, resolution.
resolution.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
said
So last year I
revolution.
was
Like,
like,
wow.
I wanna move out of my parents' house, which
Okay,
is something I accomplished last year. I don't think I had any this year, but yeah, let's see.
one step at a time. Like they say now, one step at a
One
time,
step at a time.
one step at a time, one punch at a time, one jab at a time. That's it. Like
Yeah,
that's a
especially when working in esports and gaming, when it's so vibrant and
yeah,
fast moving. You
too
can't make a
fast.
long-term plan.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't make a long-term.
you can have a blueprint,
Just
but yeah, I think so for people. I mean, as we come to the end of this, for people need to realize this. You can have a long-term plan, but the idea is everything is going to be like a lub and a dub, and get ready for all the loves and dubs because it's not going to go linear. It never goes linear because every day there's a new event, every day there's a new TO. Like right now, I think so. One thing which is very interesting to me, or what I've heard, is that with Geo now having Geo Games getting their events on board, it is going to be like another tournament organizer. Health competition is healthy, but how it affects, because now there's like suddenly a big brand which is coming in as well. So only time will tell how it affects all of us. So now each of us, like as writers, we might be wondering, okay, wait, TC has gossip. Will Geo now have something like gossip? And we have to all wonder like that. So it's never constant. There's a lot of vibrant, there's a lot of change, that fluctuations, flux, whatever you want to call it. But I think so we'll end it at that. Thank you so much, Vasif, for being here. Means a lot. I mean, he is my friend at the end of the day, and I'm happy to have an interview with him done. The first man, the introduction, the first episode is with him. So I've done a very good job, I think so. So yeah, thank you so much for
thank you
being
so
here.
much, Brian.
Yes,
Yes, I'll be back in Mumbai next week, so let's meet.
yeah. I hope you're there because guess what? There's Red Bull Campus Slush 2. I mean, not 2, I mean, the 2024. 2023, you better come, okay? I'm planning my trip and you have to come for that also,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
But other than that,
Yes, yes.
thank you so much. And everybody else, if you like this episode, like, subscribe. Feel free. Got your questions, ask him his Twitter. I'll try to put his things down there. You'll easily see the nat. So yeah, take care, be safe, and good night. Bye-bye. Even though it's
Good
afternoon,
night.
I'm saying good night. Nice.
Good night. Thank you.